Images say a lot about a culture, society, time era, agenda, and so much more. So for this lecture, we're going to learn about evaluating images. Learning how to apply the Crab test and ethos, pathos, logos, kairos to an image or set of images can help give you a better understanding surrounding the message that they're trying to convey. According to Timothy Borchers and Heather Hunley, with images, there are three levels of meaning: linguistic, non-coded iconic, and coded iconic. Linguistic images refer to the words used, if there are any. There will be literal meaning and an implied meaning to this message. In order to best evaluate your image, you'll want to explore both types of meaning. The non-coded iconic meaning asks you to explore the deliberate and obvious story told by the images. The coded iconic meaning explores the emotional meaning that arises in the audience due to the totality of the image itself. There are a few different ways that images tend to attract attention. There are those that violate reality, images that play on the metaphorical, images of visual parody, images that use direct eye gaze, or those that employ the use of sexual imagery. Most images will use one or two as their main focus. To use all would create a noisy image without a clear focus. While examining the emotion that an image invokes in the audience, there are a few key aspects to think about and consider. These include the angle of the camera, a tone of superiority in the subject, identification, or how images can help the audience to identify to a group or individual, and finally, the sexual appearance of the subject. When considering these factors, ask yourself what emotion these factors are meant to invoke in the audience. How do you know? When evaluating an image, you want to first consider the currency or time era in which the image was produced, either one, sometimes both. The history surrounding the image can tell you a lot about the message being conveyed. The relevance applies to the relevancy of the image for the message. For example, if you have a couple in their late 20s to early 30s in a canoe enjoying the outdoors, would you really expect it to have anything to do with teen pregnancy or retirement options? The image may not seem relevant to those topics and their messages. If, however, you see a couple of teenagers talking in a high school hallway, the message might be more relevant to teen pregnancy. And an elderly couple laughing while they sit by the lakeside could be relevant to retirement. The original image in question, the couple canoeing, might work well as an advertisement for a vacation spot. Next, you'll want to consider the authority. Who's putting the image out? What makes this individual or organization an authority on this particular topic? After that, you will need to consider the accuracy of the image. Does the image accurately encompass all there is for this topic? Are there aspects that are left out or omitted, possibly on purpose? Was the camera angled in such a way as to portray what was really taking place, or did the angle obscure the message in some way? Finally, you'll want to take into consideration the purpose of the image. What is the emotion that this image seeks to tap into? Every image taps a human emotion in some way. The most common emotions to tap into are fear-based and pleasure-based, though there are a myriad of other emotions that could be used as well, including empathy and sympathy. With the four standard rhetorical appeals, as they apply to images, you will use them much the same way you would use them if you were examining a piece of writing. With ethos, you're asking yourself about who is putting out the image. What is their experience, or what are their credentials that speak to their character? What makes them the authority on this topic? And does the individual or group putting out the image imply a sort of bias based on their own beliefs and values? For pathos, you want to examine the emotional appeal of the image. Does it say something about the values and beliefs of the audience that they're trying to tap into? What might that be, and how do you know? What emotions is the image meant to tap into? With logos, you're closely considering the reasoning. What data or facts are presented to back up this message? If this is an image, there might not be data and facts, or it might be mostly data and facts. What does the lack of or the heavy emphasis on facts say about the message they're attempting to convey? Finally, there's kairos, or timeliness of the image. Does the image feel appropriate for the time frame it was released in? For example, if there had been many references made in images surrounding the Twin Towers, we've all seen them, and they're all beautiful memorials. Some of these have even been set to music, with the photos of the tragic day played in a montage style. And while this is appropriate for memorial tone, would this have been appropriate within the first month after the event? Likely not. It would have been too soon, and those who crafted it would have been seen as being insensitive to the plight of the nation and the lives that were lost, as opposed to those who made it further down the line and had more time in between the events. When it comes to writing your own evaluation of an image, you have a few different approaches that you can use. You can either use the Krapp test criteria or the ethos, pathos, logos, kairos, also known as the rhetorical appeals. There is, of course, a third option where you find a way to blend the two types. The specific format you use will be based on the assignment that you're asked to do and the specifics laid out by your professor. Be sure to ask questions. There's a questionnaire that you can use for the two different types to act as an outline. You would simply answer the questions provided. The order you decide to present each segment in will depend on the image you select and the tone you want to portray. In other words, it does not matter that logos is listed third in this slide. If it's the point with the most prevalent position for your image, you might want to consider putting it at the start of your essay, or at the end if it's a better fit for the tone that you want to convey. This is where you can play with the format in order to create the organization that is best suited for your specific essay or assignment. I hope that you found this helpful, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to your professor using the Learning Management System. Thanks so much, and I'll catch you on the flip side.